Hello friends, today also we are going to deal with UGC NET paper 1, that is the people, development and environment. Okay, and the subtopics today we are going to deal are, that is environmental issues, local, regional and global, climate changes in socio-economic and political dimensions. Okay, these are the subtopics today we are going to discuss. Let us start our class. First, we are discussing the environmental issues. Okay, what are the environmental issues we are going to discuss? That is the environmental problems. That is the changes in quality and quantity affected on the earth. That is, the human beings are doing a different kind of activities for the benefit of them. Okay, and what happens is that when they are benefited, it is affecting very badly on the environment, and it degrades what the quality as well as the quantity of the environment. This is one of the issue of the environment. Next is, it can be of different ways. It can be local issues that affect the less people. Local issues means that affect a very less number of people. And regional and global means is affect the more people. That is what is happening. So today we will discuss what are the environmental issues we are going to see, or what is happening in our surrounding. We should be very aware about it because we are living in this earth and we have to protect it. What are the environmental issues we are going to see? We can see in our next area. Okay. Okay, we are going to deal with the local issues. What are the local issues? First one is the fresh water scarcity. We know that in India or in the throughout the world, there is a lot of areas where there is a scarcity of water. Why it is happening? Because the people are cutting down the trees. So the next point we have given here is desertification. Desertification, we know that the cutting down the trees and that area become later deserted area. Okay. So what happened is that after the desertification, there is not enough water for the people, and the two local issues is that one is the freshwater problem, next is desertification, next is the increase in population. When the population increases, what happens is that the people invade the environment and destroy it. That is what happened there. Next is carbon cycle. We know what is a carbon cycle. That is, the plants take the carbon dioxide and they give out the oxygen. When we cut down the trees, what happens is that the carbon become more in the atmosphere and it is getting suffocated to the people. That is the next local issue. Next is pollution. We know different kinds of pollutions are there. Soil pollution is there, air pollution is there, water pollution is there. All these are we can see in our local areas. Next is endangered species. In some areas, some kind of animals or birds or some kind of plants, all these things are getting endangered because of some reasons. Some use of chemicals or some kind of poisons, they are getting endangered in some kind of areas. This is the local issues usually we see in our areas. Next is regional and global. So regional and global means it's affecting a lot of people. Okay. One is freshwater scarcity. We know that even though it is a local area problem, it is like that we can see in the all region, we can see in the global level also the same issue we can see. So it is not only a local area problem, it is also a global issue. Next is global warming. Global warming, you know that what is global warming? That is the CO2. What happens? It increases in our atmosphere, and the temperature in our temperature increases, and this is what is happening in the global warming. So that is one of the other issue in different local some global issue we have to see. Next is agriculture. Agriculture, we know that farming or agriculture, that is very good, and it is good for the food production and all. But the problem is that they use different kinds of chemical fertilizers for getting high yielding. And what happens is that due to some kind of using of different kinds of chemical fertilizers, it affect the whole area. Okay, the water is getting polluted, the land is getting polluted, so it is become a regional problem as well as a global issue now. Next is polar melting. Polar melting, you know that there is ultraviolet rays, the ozone depletion is happening, and the ultraviolet rays are sorry, due to the ultraviolet rays, the polar ice is getting melting. So it's another global issue. Next is ocean acidification by carbon dioxide. That is, carbon dioxide is increasing in the ocean, and it gets we know that, sorry, it is not ocean acidification means, and that is it is because of the pH level pH level decreases in the ocean, and it is due to the carbon dioxide, and it is what is happening in the ocean acidification. Next is air pollution. Indoor air pollution is more, and it causes a lot of death, and outdoor pollution has less death only. So all these kinds of things are we are seeing in the global as well as in the regional areas. Next is soil pollution. Soil pollution, we know it is a general word we have heard a lot of times from the small classes itself. What kind of soil pollutions usually we see? That is wastage and sewage. That is different kinds of wastes we know from the homes, from the factories. All this wastage and sewages is the non-suitable farming practices that I have already mentioned. When you're using the different kinds of chemicals, it's affect the soil. Inorganic particles, you know that is inorganic means it's not a good, that is inorganic chemical particles, it's affecting the soil. Next is mining and deforestation affect the soil, so the soil loses its stability when the trees are cut down. And the mining, it affect the earth very badly, because it is mining is doing in the earth, and the strength of the binding of the soil will lessens, and what happens is that there is a lot chances for having the earthquakes. Next is household dump and littering. That is, we have seen the different wastes, as well as household dumping of the wastes is another reason of the soil pollution. Next is loss of wildlife habitat. As that is the different kinds of animals are living in the forest area, and they lose their habitat, and what happens is that there is not enough trees there, and the living beings are losing their habitat, and what happens is that soil erosion happens. Next is desertification. Desertification means cutting down the trees. Later, that area become desert areas. Reduce crop yield. You know that due to the soil pollution, what happened is that the agriculture or the reduce of the crop yielding is happens. These are the problems we can see in the soil pollution. Next is water pollution. That is contamination of water. Contamination means the purity of water is losing. That is what is happening in water pollution. Then solid wastes. What are the solid wastes? Waste of the tire, scrap metals. Some vehicles are getting scrapped, or like that, scrap metal, septage, septic tanks. That is all solid things. Then solid, semi-solid contained gases of different types. The next is gases, means you don't think that the gases which we see as in air, that not gases. Semi-solid, some things are there, like that solid waste is there. Next is latex paint. The paints we are using, garbages, then appliances. All these things are causing solid wastes. Next is construction and demolition debris. When a building is constructed and when they are pulled out or demolished, what happens is that there is a lot of debris is there, that is the wastages, and all these are dumped there, so there is a lot of solid wastes. Then asbestos, it is very harmful thing. So asbestos is another solid waste. Then vehicles, after a particular time it is not uses, we should not use the vehicle, so they be getting dumped there. So scrap metals is there, all these are become solid wastes. Next is liquid waste, waste water, fats. The in the ocean also there is a lot of oil contents is happening, fats is containing, grease is getting, sludges. All these things are seen as a liquid wastes. Okay. Next is biomedical waste. Biomedical waste is medical laboratory waste. It is related to hospital sector and all. Unused bandages, infusions kit. That is, after this, we know this corona and all, there is a lot of kits are available. There is wastes is there, we have to dump it properly, we have to manage it properly. What happens is that they are just throwing it out, and what happens, they become medical wastes. And hazardous waste, ignitable waste is there, that is we can burning out. Reacting type of waste is there. Corrosive means, corrosion is losing of the something, it is corrosive type of waste is the toxicity. All these types of hazardous waste is also the. Next is electronic waste. Electronic is e-waste. E-waste you have heard. Nowadays it is the main problem for the whole globe. That is e-waste. A lot of, even in one house we have seen, even though there is 5 members, there might have each or eight, sometimes eight mobile phones might be there. After a particular time, you will change the mobile phones, and the old ones will be left out there. So e-waste is increasing, and you know that the television set is changing from the different modes. It is changing into the new types everyone is using. So the previous ones are become the e-wastes. Okay, so like that, a lot of waste is happening. Not only in the case of mobile phones, all types of e-wastes is now available, and that they are getting dumped now. Used damaged electronic appliances. You know, a lot of appliances after when new gadgets come, the people will try for the new one, and the old one will be left out. And what happens is that they become the e-wastes. So next we are going to deal with another small subtopic, that is the climate changes. Okay, what is that? Climate changes mean changes in the earth climate, how it is changing. That is, first one is atmosphere. Atmosphere means air is the atmosphere, we can see the air. So what are the changes is happening to the air? That is what we called as atmosphere. Next is hydrosphere. Hydrosphere is the area where water is there. Okay, hydro means water. That hydrosphere is the area where water is there. Then cryosphere is there. Cryosphere is the area where ice and permafrost is there. That is the next form. Okay, ice and permafrost area, that is known as that the cryosphere. Next is biosphere, is the living area. Okay, living area is what we known as the biosphere. The lithosphere is the earth crust and the upper mantle. Why we have given the 5 areas? Because earth climate usually connected with all these types of 5 areas. So we have to know the 5 areas connected to the climate changes. Okay. Next is the dimensions in environmental issues. When environmental issues come, what all the area it is affecting by? We can see that. First one is the social dimension. Long-term sustainable changes needed. We know that a social dimension means we cannot stop by one person. It should be a group work has to be done there. A society has to decide. So long-term sustainable changes. Sustainable is a strong based changes has to be brought out. Then culture and civilizational change has to be brought out. Next is ecological conversion, that is conservation, that is we have to conserve our ecology, has to be done. Social dimension is there, so the society has to decide we have to protect our environment, otherwise we will die off. Okay, so we have to be very care about it. So it should be a goal for us as sustainable. We have studied about that. Goals is there, so we have to keep that in mind, and we have to see it. Okay, cultural level and civilization level also we have to take some steps for the protection of the environmental. So social dimension is the one of the dimension. Next is economic dimension, that is cost estimates. We know that the wealth of the country is decided by the resources in that area. Okay, if sorry, if resources are getting destroyed, okay, it means that the economy of that country is getting destroyed. That is, rate of discount here means that how much we are losing it, how much we are losing it is a great problem in the economic dimension. So the wealth of the country is decreasing when the environmental issues comes there. Okay, that is, we have to progress as well as the wealth, energy of all these things are always related. Next is political dimension. Who is causing all this problem? That is first reason for the who causes the climatic problems and who suffers, who is going to suffer. Whether it is doing by the developed countries, whether it is doing by the developing countries, or it's by some other countries. So we have to find who is doing that and who is going to get affected by it, and who take action between the nations of group, and who is going to take actions. So it's a political dimension is also there. So I told you there are three type of dimensions there. One is social dimension, that is society has to decide. Okay, next is economic dimension, because if the resource of a one area is destroying, then what happens is that the economic level of that country or that place is getting it is getting destroyed. Okay, so political dimension is that who is causing the problem and who has to suffer and who has to be punished and who will take the actions. So that all things we have to discuss in a long way. So That so that is why a lot of agreements are coming in the case of to protect the environment. Understood? So the countries are meeting together and they decided to take how we can protect our environment. Otherwise, the human beings will not be here after a long time. Understood? So we should be take along precautions about it. So today's class is this much only. Is a small topic. Okay, we should you should have an idea about the dimensions and all, and how which are the environmental issues. You should know that. And don't forget to subscribe this channel. We can meet in the next class. Okay, goodbye.